I run because it's where I feel most myself. It's where I feel I can be an adult but also be a kid, and I can be curious and I can observe the natural world around me, and whatever big storms I'm facing, I feel like nature finds a way of just calming them down, and whatever is gonna bother me in the future or whatever ached the day before, it doesn't matter. I'm sort of like tuning all of it out so that I can not necessarily escape my pain. The pain is irrelevant and so is the suffering, but giving into them is what makes them real. This one time though, when we were younger, in our old kitchen, my mom was cooking, I don't know what she was cooking. But we're all just staring at her because she's looking at us, but what she doesn't see is the spider coming down from the ceiling, the little spider wanting to, yeah, all of us, me, my dad, and Cole, because she had these big bangs, and I think it thought it was a web at the time. My name's Morgan Leroy. Lately, I feel like I go by Mo on the go. For the last couple years, I've been juggling 3 jobs plus running 10 to 14 hours a week and being in the gym 1.5 to 3 hours a week. So therefore, probably capping out with overtime at like 60 to 70 hours a week of being busy. Oh, and then 8 hours of sleep at night. I guess it sounds like I've been in an ultramarathon my whole life, but I don't know life any differently. I grew up with 2 brothers. They were involved in hockey, baseball, soccer. I played soccer, figure skating. So like my parents constantly had the juggling act of 3 kids and so many different passions and hobbies. So I watched my parents thrive at a young age of being busy. So that's all I've ever known. Sorry. This is a coffee and not going to the bathroom yet. I was recording. Oh, perfect. I don't care. Everybody knows I'm burpy. Aren't trail runners burpy and gassy? I also feel like, I think a lot of people have obviously close relationships with their parents, but my brother and I definitely have like this super close relationship. We can just call and talk about anything, and like sometimes we'll get off the phone and the phone call's only like 30 seconds and it was just a quick question to be like, should I do this or should I do that? So now on FaceTime it's so nice that you can feel like you're in person but you're not.
It is, but that,
I know exactly where you're at too. You're at that big garden where they always have their art vendors. Now I just want to say the scream, slash and gash.
Slash and gas, kind of hole in your ass.
If the phone rings, don't answer if I call. I'm just next door playing tennis with your balls.
Dribble, got that nipple in a slipper.
So I would say since I was a little girl, I've always been super close with my family. We did everything together, we do everything together. Running is one of the things we do together. We've gone from road to hiking to trails to running. How's the Airbnb right now? Oh, Mom says you might be moving in on Friday?
Yeah, let's hope.
Oh, okay. My brother was an amazing sprinter. Like, he was so fast, he had such great endurance. He's a few years older than me, so I looked up to him. I found it really admirable, his talent that he was so unaware that he had, but he was so perfect and his arms were just like never crossing over. And here I was just a flailing, and I thought there's gotta be a sport for that. Trail running. I saw people flailing their arms all the time, and whether it was the etiquette of the trail running form or not, for me, I felt like I was dancing.
Effort.
Okay, bye. I made dinner soon.
Okay, get working.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. There was this event that's up in Sayward. It's called the Kusum Climb. It was about 27K, 1,700 meters of climbing. I still just remember sitting in the Airbnb with my dad. He was like, get a picture of me. I gotta show the guys at work what I did. It's my dad in the yard at the Airbnb, and he's like got this like strike a pose on, and he's holding an MGD, his favorite beer. And Mount Kusum is like behind him, and he's like, I went up that. And his love for just like pushing himself and his resilience was shining through, and I was like, I feel like, you know, I'm my father's daughter at times. Like, I always felt safe with him. I always knew that like nothing was gonna go wrong for as long as I was spending time with him. He was just like that bear of a dad, you know, bear hugs and keep you safe and big arms and strong. So yeah, when I think back to that event, I think back to that memory and my dad smiling and my mom feeling super proud, and I was like, okay, how much bigger can we go? And today we are running. We are running. Holy shit, we are officially running. I am so excited.
This is the day.
The last couple of years have been sponsored by Exact Nutrition, and they've been telling me a lot about events that are out on the East Coast. So after speaking with one of the organizers of the event at the Quebec Mega Trail, I decided I would sign up for the 80K.
Does it
Awesome.
look okay?
Yeah. I'm good.
I feel like maybe it's too tight. How tight is yours? I can't get mine comfy. I don't know.
How about you wear your underwear?
I'm also wondering, is it tight?
You can see that the cold had met the hot and the humidity was already starting to roll in, and it was very like salty air. Almost reminded me of home just in that feeling, in that sense. But you get to the pier and people are running down the street to warm up. They've got their packs, their poles, they've got their brand head to toe. You're like, what am I getting myself into? So we start making our way, and luckily, like the first few kilometers, we know our road. What I didn't know is the 80K runners and the 110K runners started together. There was like a mass start, and at the end where my finish was, they would end up having to go like up to the top of Mont Saint-Anne. I looked at my watch and I had done already 500 meters, and it was like just under 45 minutes. So I knew that like I was in between the mid-pack and the leader. I'm gonna pull my phone out and I'm gonna start taking some pictures because I'm gonna walk this next section. Jesus fucking Christ. I hope nobody is religious. Good, and then I was looking and I noticed that there was somebody behind me.
I fell in a puddle.
So I turned around and I said, hi, I'm Morgan. And he said, hi, Antoine. And he shared with me that he was running the 110, and he decided that he would follow me and we would just see if we could get to the top of Massif and then, you know, split ways.
Okay, bye. Yeah? All right. Let's go. Yay, bye. Au revoir.
Well, little did we know we'd be running 13 and a half hours together and talking the entire time. Last April 25th, I had my first day in the OR. I was super excited about this job. So I remember like taking a photo in the mirror, and my dad was working in Alberta at the time, so I was an hour ahead, and I remember sending it to him and then quickly putting my phone in my locker. And I remember like coming into the locker room and taking my scrubs off, looking at my phone, 2:45. Oh, the message never sent to my dad. I'm getting changed, I'm heading into my boss's office. I'm telling her how much I loved the job and how I feel like this is where I want to be and I would love to have the position. And I'm walking outside and the sun is shining because it's April. And then I remember seeing like we have each other favorited on Strava. My mom was going for a run that day, and so was my dad. They both ran their own distances that day. My mom here in Ladysmith, my dad in Fort Mac. I'm like one of those freaks of a kid that looks at all the statistics and cadence and heart rate, and I was just like, oh, like my dad ran like 5K one way, and I was like, that's really weird. And then I remember looking at his heart rate and I was like, wow, like that's really high. And he was on the trails. My mom ran 10. Now my dad only made it 5. But like, somehow, it was kind of like they were doing like their last dance together because they ran the same pace and like had no idea. I think it was like 6:11 a kilometer, and like they both ran the exact same pace. And I remember calling my mom and her voice just being like, everything isn't okay. And her words just felt really out of place. And she said, Dad's gone. That was the beginning of the worst year of my life. It's amazing what moments of light can flush through the darkness. I would say that the year now, looking back, has been such a beautiful and also excruciating adventure. I had no idea that the body could just start walking again. On April 26th, I went for a walk, and I remember going on Strava and saying, day 1. And I went back again on day 2, and I did it again on day 3. I remember walking in those kilometers. I remember trying to run and then pulling over and having to throw up.
So much pollen on here. He was always allergic to pollen.
Some of them were in the dark, some of them were in the light, some of them were with people, some of them were in silence, some of them were in, how is my dad dead? How is my dad dead? How is my dad dead? All the things I can't introduce my dad to. I am introducing, but it's like to the sky, it's to the birds, it's to the time in the trails, it's getting up high, sitting there in solitude, sitting there in moments of breath work to relax myself, to be at peace with where I'm at and where I've gone through and where I've been, to reflect on the last year and think of where I'm going.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, you
Good job.
do. You do.
Like, these are like things that like you don't realize that maybe you take them for granted, but when you don't have it anymore, like that's what you're left with, is like all of the questions, all of the wishes, all of the moments that you have to start inviting other people to help you through.
When do I go into Mr. Sugar now? Do you want any more food? Sorry. I didn't mean to push you.
That's all right.
I just wanted to get going a little bit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this little butterfly just like starts cruising by. And Antoine said, there's been a butterfly following us the whole time, and I think it's your dad. I was just like, this guy is so great. Like, so lucky to have this friend right now. We had a pretty sweet friendship that was built purely off the love for the trails and just being authentic in the woods, and that's a lifelong mate. You know, maybe you'll sign up for another event with them because you're like, we can conquer together. You can keep testing me, life, but I'm gonna keep pushing back. As if there's a band attached to my torso and it's yanking so hard for me to come its way, and I'm just continuing to propel forward.
Un spectacle de théâtre biographe avec les petits pickers.
I'm done. Oh my God. What I have known the last year, first of all, is that I am one tough chick. And I don't mean that by like surviving the last year. I mean getting to where I'm at now and realizing that it's okay to be okay. He would want me to be okay.
For me as a mom, a very proud moment, just how our life has been the past year, for her and for me. Going through what we've been through and trying to overcome, right? Trying to push on and be strong and do something that we know he loved, we all love as a family, being in the outdoors. And how proud and how happy he'd be. Like, she's amazing, right? He'd say, we done good. That's how he'd word it, we done good. We raised beautiful children, so he'd be very happy.
Yes! That just feels so badass to know that I crossed the finish line, and to finish something like that and to go home, I'm like, what else can I conquer? Taking away and what I'm putting in the backpack is like a sticky note that says, just when you want to quit, you have so much more left inside of you.